Will the Cowboys have a top 10 offense again this year? Ain't looking too good.
Whose world is this?
The world is yours. The world is yours.
It's mine. Whose world?
Now, if you watched my last video, you will have seen me asking and answering if the Cowboys will have a top 10 defense this year. If you haven't checked that video out, the link will be below in the description. You can go ahead and click it and watch it after we finish this video. But the purpose of this video will have the same format. Will the Cowboys have a top 10 offense again this year? After a horrible offseason, a lot of Cowboys fans are feeling anxious when it comes to our offense. And to an extent, they should be. I mean, there has been doubt about our offensive line. There's definitely doubt about our wide receiver room. There's doubt about if we're starting the right running back. And for some odd reason, there has even been doubt about our starting quarterback. But I think that doubt is only coming from football fans who don't really know football. Respectfully. So first, let's take a look back at the 2021 season to see how good we actually were. Our last year offense was awesome. I mean, we ranked first in points per game at 31.2. We also ranked first in total yards. We were ranked second in total passing yards and ninth in total rushing yards. And we were led by our QB1 Dak Prescott, who was 7th in the NFL when it came to passing yards and had a franchise record 37 touchdowns to go only with 10 interceptions. He averaged 278.1 yards per game. I mean, Dak Prescott in the receiving core was the sole reason why we had the #1 offense for the 2021 season. When it came to rushing, we had some issues. And like I said earlier, yes, we were 9th in total rushing yards. But in my opinion, even with being in the top 10 in rushing yards, we were kind of below average. We were led by Ezekiel Elliott, who finished 7th in the NFL with 1,002 rushing yards to go along with 10 touchdowns. Tony Pollard finished with 719 rushing yards, which was good for a top 30 back in the NFL. Not bad for your RB2. And when it came to the wide receiver room, CeeDee Lamb finished 16th in the NFL with 1,102 receiving yards. Amari Cooper had 865 receiving yards. Dalton Schultz had 808 yards. Cedric Wilson finished with 602 yards. Michael Gallup, who only played in 9 games, finished with 445 yards. So we have 4 players finishing with 600 receiving yards or more, and a 5th that definitely would have made that 600-yard mark if he stayed healthy. So again, 2021 was a great offensive year for the Dallas Cowboys. Now the question is, will they be able to be as strong in 2022 and finish as the top 10 offense? My answer is no. Now, the 2022 season will mark the 4th season that Kellen Moore has been coordinating the Dallas Cowboys offense. But there has been some big changes that Kellen Moore will face with his offensive group that he hasn't had in his first 4 years. For the first time ever since Moore took over, the unit will be without Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson, Blake Jarwin, Connor Williams, and La'el Collins. That's a good chunk of snaps that's just gone. But even with those important pieces gone, the main pieces are still on the roster. Of course, the biggest part of the equation is still here in Dak Prescott. Stars like Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz are also still here, as are offensive line future Hall of Famers and Tyron Smith and Zach Martin. So we are nowhere near a rebuilding offense. Yet, the Cowboys will still look different in 2022. Even with fans that are big on signing James Washington, drafting Jalen Tolbert, and the growth of Simi Fehoko, there is no talent on this roster that can replace and do the things Amari Cooper could do. So with that being said, let's go over the players that we lost from last year and gained. So right off the bat, we lost Amari Cooper to the Browns. We traded him for a 5th round draft pick. We also lost Cedric Wilson to the Dolphins because we couldn't sign him for what he was worth. Connor Williams we lost to the Dolphins, and Malik Turner we lost to the 49ers. Adding La'el Collins, who plays for the Bengals now. Now for the players that we added on the offensive side of the ball, James Washington, who we signed from the Steelers. Tyler Smith we drafted in the 1st round, and Jalen Tolbert we drafted in the 3rd round. So I would say when it comes to the players that we lost and we gained, I think there's more of a value of all the players that we lost. Just off the fact that Amari Cooper, he was so good for us. Cedric Wilson had a breakout season. Connor Williams, I'm cool. Malik Turner didn't do much. La'el Collins was a good right tackle. Inconsistent at times, injured at times, but he was a good right tackle. And the players that we added, James Washington, I wasn't too big on him. I know he was a good deep threat, but he's hurt now. Tyler Smith and Jalen Tolbert, they'll be good pieces, but they're so young, and I'm trying to win now. So let's break down each position group now, starting with the quarterbacks. Everything is pretty much as expected when it comes to the quarterback position. So far, Dak Prescott has had both good moments and bad moments, which is expected with the loss of talent in the wide receiver room. I mean, he'll definitely have to step his game up this year since we don't have the same depth that we had last year. But overall, quarterback room, solid. When it comes to the running back room, both Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard have looked fantastic so far in camp. If both can stay healthy, they will surely be one of the top dynamic duo running back tandems this year. Some fans think that Tony Pollard should be the featured back because he seems more explosive. I'm not quite ready to agree with those fans because Zeke brings so much to the table, whether it's his pass protection, his leadership, and his toughness. Plus, he was hurt last year. Before his injury versus the Panthers, he was looking good. Next, we have the wide receiver room. Losing Amari Cooper stinks. Losing Amari Cooper for a 5th round draft pick stinks even worse. Then our wide receiver group took another hit after James Washington injury. But our wide receiver room haven't missed a beat. CeeDee Lamb has looked sensational. Rookie Jalen Tolbert looks miles ahead of schedule as he's showing out in camp. Noah Brown looks like he's ready to take a nice leap this year. Simi Fehoko is making some noise, so that could be something that's promising. And we can't forget about free agent signing Dennis Houston, who's doing all the right things mentally, where he could sneak his way not only to just the team's 53-man roster, but also as a starter. While this group still contains a lot of uncertainty, there are certainly plenty of reasons to be hopeful. Also, don't forget that we get Gallup back probably around mid-season. Next to the tight end room, Dalton Schultz and Sean McKeon have looked good. And these two alone offer the team a nice pass-catching, in-line blocking 1-2 punch. Rookie Jake Ferguson looks good as well. Now for the offensive tackles. Let's be honest, Tyron Smith is the only bright spot at this position. He said he feels great, so let's hope that lasts. Or an already bad situation become even worse. Starting right tackle Terrence Steele hasn't had the best showing so far in camp. And all of our swing tackles are young, unproven, or hurt. So safe to say, tackle's a problem. And the last position group is our interior offensive lineman. Now, rookie Tyler Smith has been good as advertised. He has been seen overpowering most defensive linemen. Zach Martin is about as consistent of a player as they come. Our center Tyler has added some weight and has looked okay in camp. So I'm not too concerned about our interior offensive linemen, maybe a little at the center position. So in all, I definitely don't see us being the #1 offense in the NFL again this year. I don't see us being top 10 either. We lost a depth in the wide receiver room that made Dak Prescott's job that much easier. Our offensive line is below average outside of Zach Martin and Tyron Smith. This will result in a poor running game. Now I think if we can add a nice vet offensive tackle somewhere and a vet receiver such as Will Fuller or Cole Beasley or even Odell Beckham for the final stretch of the season, we could maybe finish top 15. But top 10 is unrealistic with that offensive line. But comment below your thoughts. Do you think that we'll finish top 10? Do you think that we'll finish top 5 or #1 like last year? Comment below your thoughts. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a like. And like I always say, if you're a true Dallas Cowboys fan or NFL fan period, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now because it's free. But until next time,